Speaking of his songs, we played that one in the beginning of the show here, and all of the available music of Paul Thomlinson is on Reverb Nation.
Yeah.
So you just go to Reverb Nation. You don't even have to become like a member. Just skip that and go right to the search bar.
You don't have to?
You don't have to, not to listen to.
That's cool. You don't have to. And I got to tell you, that's, as I told you last time, nothing's changed. It's just a place where I put my demos and all my musings and brain droppings and musical ideas. And some of them are demos and some of them are a little more fully produced, but it's just a place for me mostly to share. When I see something on Facebook where somebody says something about something that I've written a song, somebody wrote about government cheese recently. And I have a song about that. So I post a link to that. I'm like, really? Wrote a song? And I feel like the guy from In Living Color wrote a song about it. Here you go. First song I ever wrote in my long career. Here you go. But anyway, so it's all just for friends and family. But I ain't mad about it if you want to listen to my stuff and give me some comments, help me make it better.
Certainly.
If you have collaborators out there who go, that's a good idea for a song, but you missed it by a mile, and I'd like to tell you how to make that better. I'd love to collaborate with you.
Right.
That's cool.
It's cool. There is tons,
challenge out there.
And tons over there. Of Paul's music.
Stephanie Stevens says, "Hey, Paul, we're still married. Good job."
Oh, you know what? I married them.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a wonderful highlight of my last several years. We got to get together with Donnie and Stephanie and just tie the knot. Apparently, I tied a good knot.
You tied a good knot.
I was a Boy Scout, and I learned how to tie some knots. But that one, the metaphorical one,
that's great.
Is tied up good and tight.
Super good.
And
I
they
love
got
it.
a baby and everything.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Peoples.
It's better than my singing at weddings record. My singing at weddings record is not good. I've sang at 12, 14 weddings, and I think 2 are still together. So don't have me sing at your wedding.
On that point, Christian music wise, you remember, of course, Randy Thomas from Sweet Comfort Band. With Bob Carlisle and that whole thing. Anyway, his song "Just Like Me." Do you remember that song? He wrote it to propose to his wife, which I didn't know. I thought it probably was successful, so I used it to propose to my first wife, and it worked. Then the marriage didn't after 5 years. But anyway, I met him at SBU and they played there, and I was like, man, I was still married to her at the time, and I was like, I used your song "Just Like Me" to propose, basically to propose to my wife, and he's like, I'm glad it worked for you. Like,
oopsie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I poured a little salt in the wound. I'm so sorry, Mr. Thomas. I'll shut up now.
I'm gonna go over here.
I'm gonna shuffle off the buffalo. Shuffle off the bubbler.
Shuffle off the bubbler.
Anyway, where were we?
I don't know. We were just hanging. Oh.
And Brian's here. What a good dude.
And that's right. There's the 2 that still lasted. Matt Stewart, I sang at theirs. They're together. And then my stepmom, Bev, I sang at their wedding with my dad. And they were together till.
And I used to also think, by the way, if you're doing that and before the wedding, it's a better thing. Like the premarital counseling thing, I was pretty good on that deal because a lot of folks I talked out of getting married, and they did not get divorced.
There you go.
As a result,
success.
Prevention.
There you go.
An ounce of prevention.
Preemptive counseling.
A pound of cure.
It's kind of like birth control. It's like, okay, we can handle this a lot better if it never happens in the first place. It's a lot easier to handle.
I could not agree more.
Let's just not make it happen in the first place. That's interesting, though, with premarital counseling. I bet you see a lot of that. I bet you see a lot of people that you're just like, they shouldn't do this. But how would you encourage them not to?
Well, one of the things I used to always do is I want you to list everything that you hate about them right now. Mm-hmm. Oh, are you kidding me? I love him. Everything about him so wonderful and special.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So it takes a minute, but you finally get them to, oh, well, I guess I could get him to stop. If he would stop X, Y, and Z, get a whole list of them. And after a while, you get that. And I'm like, okay, what you need to do right now is make the commitment to love them 100% and never, if they never ever change another thing about them, that you're still 100% in this thing. And, you can live with them and support them, love them every single day of your life for the rest of your life. It has a way of kind of bringing people up short a little bit because, they do have the rose-colored glasses of love and romance a lot of times. And so it's like, that's a good way to kind of bring them to the reality of love is about loving another fallible, flawed human being for the rest of your life.
Right.
Marriage is about
marriage.
that.
Yeah.
And so if you want to get the government involved and, sign on the dotted line, you really need to make sure that you're okay with all that whole list of things that you just now said irritate the crap out of you forever. And
especially already.
Already.
Yeah, if it's already bugging you.
Yeah, the bloom is still on the rose and you're still getting bugged by 15 things. We now have a list. Anyway.
Tune in live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central.
On the Unsung Screamers Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Twitter.
And check out our Unsung Screamers podcast.
Wherever you get your podcasts.